Hello and welcome to episode 15 of my channel where I chat knitting, sewing, sometimes crochet, sometimes patchwork. My name is Julie and I'm coming to you from just north of Glasgow in the UK. Thank you so much for people who've subscribed and people who've watched. It's nice to have you along, and the comments have been really interesting and great. Thank you very much. I'm up in our bedroom today because it's a very gloomy day and I'm sitting at the front of our house in the dormer window because I just wanted some light. Excuse me. So I've brought a basket of stuff from my sewing room. I ain't going to be dashing down there to pick up bits and bobs, but I've brought what I think is relevant for today. And another reason it's not so great in my sewing room is I let loose, well, almost, she was supervised, our 3-year-old granddaughter in my sewing room on Sunday. We had all the family here, which was a lovely weekend. And she loved unfurling reams of bias binding. So I did spend an hour or so rewinding that up. But it was lovely to see her playing. So I'm up in our bedroom, which we decorated sometime last year. We did the wallpapering. We had the builders in to do a little bit of structural stuff. We've lived here about a year and the house does need a total redecoration. We've done various rooms, but we love it here. We love it up in Scotland. I digress. So today I do have some notes to try and keep me on track. And I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing first of all, which is something I made last week. I think I hemmed it on Monday. I have done a little video of me in this dress outside, so I don't think I'm going to stand up and do a little twirl here because I said I've done a video of me standing outside, so I will put that in. To be honest, I don't want to spend ages editing, but I thought that was easier because it is quite a long dress and I tried to show it off a bit better. Anyway, it's a mashup, what's the other word? Hack of the Merchant and Mills field dress, which is a really nice pattern. And it's for advanced beginner. I've made at least one of these as a dress. Can't remember if I've made some tops. It does come as a top and just below the knee dress. So I used the top half of this pattern and cut it off at the waist, and the bottom half of this older pattern, a new look pattern. I will try and put the patterns and any other info that's relevant at the bottom in the description. So this, I think I did make one of these, but I can't remember. Anyway, I used the skirt part of one of these and the top of this, and I think is successful. I wanted that look. I think there's a Merchant and Mills pattern. Is it called the ED, the E? Oh, I can't remember. So it's like a fuller skirt and a more fitted top. But I didn't want to spend 17, 18 pounds on the pattern. So I did this conglomeration of two different patterns. And I used, it's linen fabric, which I've talked about in previous episodes, that I've dyed, used the strip product to try and take the colour out because it was too dark. So this final, I think, is called Forest Green. I have left the plastic outer in my sewing room, and as I said, I'm not going back down, but I think it's Forest Green. And putting on this cuffing does bring out the green a little bit, because I'm not a fan of a full black outfit. I don't say I never wear black, but I didn't want a full black outfit. This is quite dark, but I think you can see the greenness. Obviously, I'm sitting in a green background here, so that brings out the green a bit more as well, and I've put on some green beads. Right, so before I cut this part to go on to the little video I'm going to add of me wearing, so you can see the full version. The cuffing, I didn't have loads left of this colour, but it was just enough to make the neckline and the rib. I think I cut the rib, the cuffs a little bit shorter than the pattern. I have narrow wrists and I didn't have much fabric, so I did eke it out. And I bought the ribbing at Abercorn near Rhyl in North Wales quite a few years ago when we lived in North Wales. Fantastic store for discount fabrics and nice fabrics on the roll. So it's well worth a visit if you're near one. There are some, I've seen some vlogs, videos, whatever, on YouTube of people visiting Abercorn. And it is quite an interesting setup, because you can buy fabric by the kilo, by the weight. They will measure, they will cut off bits of the kilo, bits of the weight. So it's a really interesting, plus they have stuff on the roll. So this was a piece of linen that I also bought from Abercorn. I can't remember the original colour. It might have been like a mustard, which doesn't look too great on me. So I tried the dyeing process. So that's the fabrics and the notions I used. I also used it's in my little basket of tricks here, I'm hoping. If it's not, I'm not going back downstairs. Yes, it's here. I also tried using this ruffler foot, which, as you can see, I bought in a charity shop to do. There's lots of gathers on the waist. The bottom part is made up of 3 large pieces of fabric that you sew for the skirt. And to go back to this pattern, which I also bought in a charity shop, the instructions, I don't know if it's in my sewing room somewhere, but the instructions, it's missing the second page of the written instructions of how to do the pattern. I could have looked on YouTube how to do gathering. I've got another skirt that's got gathers. But I thought, oh, I've got a ruffler foot. And I know there's a gather foot as well. So I've never used it before. And it's quite an interesting piece of kit. So I quickly looked up on YouTube how to use a ruffler foot. Quickly read the instructions, not very thoroughly, and had a go. And it's quite ungainly to put on your machine, but I did get it on. I thought, is it back to front? No, it did work. But I did break 2 needles in the process. I have a box of needles. I don't know how many was in there. I was going to bring that, but it's down in my sewing room, which my dear father-in-law, who's now died, bought me for possibly my 60th birthday. He bought me a load of haberdashery and a voucher for Abercorn. It was a really nice gift. And I said, I want this big pack of needles. So there's quite a lot left in them. But I did break 2 using this foot. It does say on the instructions, you can oil it. Now, I do have some machine oil. So perhaps I'll have a look into oiling it. But of course, I'm not keen to break lots of needles. And it does make a really clanking noise. So perhaps it does need oiling. But it is quite an interesting piece of kit. I'd be interested if anybody else has success with a ruffler foot. Somebody I follow on Instagram, So Many Flowers, she's based in the US. She made a beautiful, I think it's a Merchant of Mills pattern, with loads of ruffles. And I must ask her via Instagram how she did the ruffles. Does she use a ruffler foot? So that was quite an interesting experience. So the ruffler foot did do quite a few ruffles, but I ended up just using, I think I just ruffled them into the waistband as I went along. The other thing about it, obviously you have to do some calculations depending on how wide your skirt is, what sort of ruffles you want. And I'm not really into detail. I'm into broad picture. So anyway, the ruffler foot. So I wanted to talk about that. Plus, I would like to make a shorter version. This is quite long. A shorter version that I also make the waistband a bit higher. This is quite a low waistband, which is fine. It's a nice look. But I would like to make a shorter version. And as somebody else I'm friends with on Instagram, you know who you are, has said about the Fielder, it could do with longer sleeves, particularly for winter. And I would like to do some longer sleeves. I've got in mind some needle cord fabric, and I have said I'm going to just use fabric I've got, but I did purchase some on eBay this week, which I may dye depending on how it looks. So whether or not I do that week after next depends. So I think that's all about my mashup of the Fielder and a full skirt. Just check my notes here. And no, I think that's it. So hopefully I can cut here, add in the little video of me wearing the dress, and then go back to the video. Fingers crossed. See you soon. Hello, hope the little video of me wearing the dress worked. So I'm going to move on to the other 2 items that I finished this week. But I'm going to pop on this snood cowl, which I made many years ago with some yarn that one of my daughter-in-laws bought me as a Christmas gift. And it works great with this, and it snuggles it up a bit. So I think I've still got the cuff, the make of the yarn. She's from Glasgow, and I think it is a Scottish yarn. But again, I could say badger. I can't remember. I could, if I still had it, add it to the notes later on. So the second thing that I made this week is on the floor here. I'm just ducking out of the glare on my glasses. I made Finley mouse. And Finley goes with Fiona. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Finley. I really liked making this. Who doesn't need a cute little mouse? So Finley comes from a pattern. Again, I will try and add it in the description at the bottom, called House of Zandra. He's made of felt and stuffed with toy stuffing. He has a little white shirt on underneath. He has dungarees, and he has little whiskers and beady eyes. I would really recommend this. I don't know about this slow stitching. I'm more of a quick stitcher, I want to get it done. But Finley, I think his name's Finley. Yeah, Finley Field Mouse. Finley took me perhaps a day, obviously not just sewing all day, although I did spend a lot of the day sewing. A day and perhaps an hour and a half the day before. So it is a really nice project to just settle down and hand stitch. It's all hand stitched. I think I said before when I made Fiona that I couldn't find the patterns on the House of Zandra website, but the patterns are there, but they're in a section called mini patterns. Anyway, the pattern is only £3, and I think that's great. I bought it at a quilt show in Glasgow last March. I think it was more than £3. So perhaps they reduced, I don't know. But I didn't look at the price of the felt. It wasn't expensive, and you may have felt at home. But everything has blanket stitch. Now, I don't think I'm the neatest hand stitcher, but he's fine. So, this isn't blanket stitch. This is just like an overstitch, but blanket stitch around the hems of his trousers. I'll take off his little jacket. Oh, he's got little patch pockets before I take those off. Take off his jacket, and there are his dungarees and his little shirt. I think it said to blanket stitch around the edge of his sleeves, but I didn't do that. So I think he's great. Now, I do have some of the other haberdashery to go with making this mouse. For instance, I have a cone, possibly, of, I think it's fine crochet thread, which somebody gave me. So I used that for his whiskers. In terms of the embroidery thread, I'm not an embroiderer, but I am a person who buys stuff in charity shops. So I bought this case a few years ago, and it does have a variety of colours. So there was enough colours in there for me to be able to do the hand stitching. Plus I've got bags of other bits of embroidery thread, and there's another bag there. So I have plenty of embroidery thread. To make the bodies of the mice, it takes one of those felt squares. I do have some bits left. I think the clothes all come out as one felt square, but I can't remember, so I don't take that as perfect. But I would definitely recommend them. Looking on the website, there is an angel I quite fancy, like a Christmas angel. So who knows, I might get some more. I may go to the Glasgow. If I'm here, I will definitely go, but there's a potential chance I might be away. And what I did, I used some pattern paper and traced my own little patterns from the pattern in the booklet. So there's my versions. I cut them out rather than cutting the whole thing out. But the instructions are really clear, and I just stapled them together to make a little booklet. I think that's all from about Finley Mouse. I don't think I could talk to you without glasses. The glare on my glasses looks ridiculous. I'm going to try, but I will have to put my glasses on for reading my notes. So, highly recommended, Finley and Fiona. I did add, this isn't on the pattern, but I did add a little bit of ribbon to stop her cape falling over, falling off, falling out, whatever. So there they are, a little pair of cutie mice. They are quite addictive. I think they're really nice. So there they are. And I'm going to have to put my glasses back on because I really can't see. Everything's very blurry. That's, I think, everything about Finley Mouse. As I said, House of Zandra, and they sell the felt and the other notions, I think, like the eyes, but I did have eyes in a tub of beads. So I don't think there's anything else to add. A really good, I would say, slow stitch project. So that's that one. The last thing I have to show is another lavender star using some Liberty fabric, which I've had for aeons. So I'm aiming to fill this basket with little lavender stars and balls using the Liberty fabric that I have left. The one I made this week is this one. Ain't perfect, but I think it looks cute. Beautiful smell of lavender. I love lavender. I think if I make, or when I make the next one, I'm going to make a log cabin, but smaller than that. Now, these little things, you know, it's the type of thing you can do of an evening, sitting in front of the telly or listening to music, whatever. But for the log cabin, I think I'd have to be in my sewing room in order to cut the strips. Can't remember, made this ages ago. I do have loads of, I have a big box here, which I just thought I'd bring up, of ribbons, bits and bobs, you know, stuff you get. I think that was my mother-in-law's Christmas cake ribbon, which she failed to take home with her. So it's here. Loads of bits and bobs. Pom-poms, which I've used on a little stool I upholstered, which is in the other room, and it was blue stripe, and used those pom-poms around the edge. What else have I got? Just bits of thread, and there's a bit of Velcro there. You know, this has accumulated over the years. I'm not going to crinkle too much, but there's all sorts of colours in here, and they always come in. This is where little Fiona's velvet ribbon came from, and this is where the ribbons for my lavender little pom-pom type things come from. This box, I was thinking about it. I bought this box in Hereford. We used to live in Herefordshire. And I bought it when our youngest son had just had his GCSE results. He's now 27. So GCSEs are taken at 16. And it was only me and him. His elder brother was at university. His dad was at work. I think I was working part-time. Can't remember. And we went off to Hereford for a meal, us two, and we went to Wagamama's. I think I've only been to Wagamama's twice. But anyway, that was one of the times. And there was a new, if you know Hereford, it's only a little city. There was a new sort of precinct shopping area, and I bought this box. Can't remember what shop it was. But I do remember walking in there with our youngest son and the Wagamamas and then buying this box for this purpose, for putting ribbons and notions, whatever. So I'm glad I've kept it. It's a really pretty pattern. It's, I suppose, like an Indian stamp. What's it called? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, so that's my box of ribbony things. My granddaughter didn't find this. Oh, when she finds it, it'll be everywhere. That's reminded me, my granddaughter, we were down looking after her yesterday, and I had plans to go to the Burrell collection. If you're ever in Glasgow, the Burrell is a wonderful collection of artifacts, statues, fabric, pottery, glass. Beautiful place and really friendly. Nice cafe and a few, she's only 3, my granddaughter, and a few little interactive things for kiddies, and she loves it there. There's also a sand pit and a play area. What I'm getting at, I got to their house early and they go off to work. Right, we're going to go swimming. No, she didn't want to go swimming. Right, we're going to go to the Burrell. And she really does like it there. No, she wanted to stay home and play. Fine. I was disappointed. I really wanted to go to the Burrell. So she's got really good concentration. So she was playing and I actually I took a little bit of stitching with me and I did a sneaky bit of stitching while she was just playing in her bedroom. And what I took was this little, in fact, I rescued it from their house a couple of weeks ago. They were checking it out. So it's a little, I think it must be jewellery. And I was able to fit in a reel of thread, the needle, and the little bits that I use to make the lavender stars. So I was able to get that out and do a sneaky bit of stitching while she was playing. Oh, I don't know what she was playing, pulling her bedroom apart, basically. So I was there stitching. Anyway, we did get to the Burrell after that, and we had a fabulous time looking at not all, but looking at lots of the artifacts, playing with some of the push the button things, and then the sand pit, and then the play area where she took her, it was freezing, but she had to take her shoes and socks off. So we had a fabulous day. So I think that's it for now. Just going to check my notes. Nothing else. My plans for this week. I fancy making another Whittaker pinafore. I wore the one I made last week. I wore it about 4 days running with different tops underneath, polo neck, t-shirts. It's so comfy. I do have a smaller piece of navy fabric that I could make a size 10. So I may make that. I don't know what else is on my agenda. I've got to continue tidying my sewing room after the little one has a good play in there. And I'll do what takes my fancy. That's the joy of creating, and I think it is a joy. I'm really, really enjoying my making at the moment, particularly doing the channel has really motivated me to get things done. So I don't think there's anything else. Thank you for watching, and if you're stitching, whatever you are stitching. Happy stitching. And just, if you're going to comment, perhaps put a comment about what you're making at the moment. It's good to see and hear what other people are getting up to. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself. See you again soon. Bye.